In this example, I'm going to show you again, how are we going to make a table with a given function. And then we're also going to be plotting them. But as you see, this is a blank graph paper. So the plotting may be a bit more difficult because they didn't even give you the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, so anyway, let me show you. So this is the formula for x and y. So the table is here. X is equal to -2. Change your x to a -2 and then you punch calculator. So you get a -3 and that forms a nice coordinate. So when x is equal to 0, you will get this. And that forms another coordinates. So when x is equal to 2, change your x to 2 and you get a 5. Okay, so you actually got 3 points. That 3 points can join up to be a straight line already. But then you might be thinking, then how am I supposed to draw? There's no x-axis or y-axis. So again, I think in one of the previous example, if you are doing the x-axis and y-axis yourself, you got to plan for the table. So what do I mean by plan for the table? So this is the smallest x, this is the biggest x. I must make sure my horizontal has enough to cover from -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then here, this one is the -3 and 5. It's the vertical. So you must make sure it covers -3 and 2, 5. So you got to draw in such a way that make sure you count. Okay, so I'm going to count a bit first. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, -1, -2. So I'm trying to do something like this. I'm trying to use 10 square for 1 unit. But if I do that, I realize that I got not enough. So that means, right, I cannot be using 10 squares as 1 unit. So maybe I can only use 5 square. So if like this one is a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. Okay, so then I count already. Okay, I make sure that's enough. The horizontal is easier because the horizontal got fewer numbers. So I can actually do it like this. So for example, here, this is a -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So I actually got more than enough. Okay, draw your y-axis. So this part is a 0 already. So just now we realized we cannot use 10 square for 1 unit. So I'm going to change to 5 square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I need a -1, -2, and a -3. So you make sure your x-axis and your y-axis is sufficient. You don't want to be plotting already, then you go, oh shit, my graph paper is not enough. Okay, so once you're done, you can start plotting. Plot the first one. Be very mindful about the plotting. Some students will plot wrongly. It's supposed to be XY, but sometimes their eyes play trick on them. Then they got YX. And if you look at the 3 points, all nicely join up. And don't forget the equation. There are 3 things that I look for if I mark a graph. I will look for your x-axis. I'll look for your y-axis. I will look for the equation. So this will be the basic 3 things that I'm going to look for whenever you get to draw a graph. Okay, so the next part will be, there's actually asking a question. They ask question. And the keyword is from the graph. That means you will get your answer from the graph. From the graph, for the first part, take the coordinate of A where it cuts the x-axis. So the line cuts the x-axis here. Can you see the line? You imagine the red color line as a knife, and then the x-axis as another line. So they will cut each other. So this will be the part where they cut each other. Okay, sorry. So this will be the part where they will cut each other. Okay, and you answer the question accordingly. Answer accordingly. They ask you for the coordinate. So the coordinate will be minus half. The coordinate will be minus half 0. So when they say coordinates, that means the x and y coordinate. Okay, then the next one, the point B, where the x coordinate is 1.5. So where is where the x coordinate is 1.5? So when this one is 1.5, what should be the coordinate? So instead of calculating, I will read from the graph. It touched a line, and you watch over, that will become the y coordinate. So this is the point B. So B is 1.5. You will need to show a dotted line. So this dotted line is working. So after you draw the graph, right, they can ask you to answer question. Okay, so I repeat for part 2. For the coordinate of B, the x coordinate is 1.5. So if I go for calculation, I will change this to 1.5. So if I go for the calculation, okay, I will get a 4. But you are not supposed to do by calculation, because the question says that you got to do it from your graph. That means the answer must come from your graph instead of by calculation. And because you're going to get it from the graph, you got to show the dotted line. That is the part that you look at to get the answer. Okay, so this is a very short example of question, linear graph that asks question. So there's a lot of process. First of all, you must know how to fill up the table because you are given the formula. Secondly, if you are not given the XY axis, you must plan for your XY axis. You must plan properly, then you can plot the point. And your point must all fall under a straight line. And then subsequently, the question can ask you things about the graph. And your job is to obtain the answer from the graph, not by any other method. Okay, so that will be a very basic example to start with.